Welcome back, fight fans. This week we have UFC Fight Night in Ajerbaijan. Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree to headline this 6-fight main card. Subscribe and follow Fight Weekly for your UFC weekly fight updates. Now let's get into it. We've got a lot of stats to look at here for our main event light heavyweight fight. Both Jamahal Hill and Khalil Rountree are coming in their mid-30s at 34 and 35 each. Hill's got the slight height and reach advantage by a few inches each. It may be a factor in this fight, but Rountree has proven himself to stand against larger opponents. Looking at strikes per minute, Hill's got a surprising stat here, almost doubling that of Rountree, and also having 15% higher striking accuracy rating. This could easily be a stand-up fight, so these stats may come into play. Let's see what Jamahal's been up to lately. He's been really inactive since his fight with the then 42-year-old Glover Teixeira, where he won his Walmart UFC belt. Over a year later, he had his KO loss to Alex Pereira, where he tried to make it something controversial, but clearly he just got caught. And then earlier this year in January, he put on a banger fight with Jiri Prochazka. It was a pretty close fight. In fact, all scorecards were split 19-19 heading into the third and final round, but Yuri's counter-striking was too good for Jamahal. He got caught and knocked down twice in the ending sequence and results in a TKO loss for him. Jamahal was set to fight Rountree earlier this year, but had to pull out of the fight due to a lingering leg injury that he suffered from that last Jiri Prochazka fight. And now the fan favorite Khalil Rountree. He also hasn't been the most active fighter with only 3 fights since 2023. It starts with him getting a round 1 TKO finish over Chris No Chin Dawkins, where he just kept getting him clean until one of them knocked him down. Then he gets another TKO finish over Anthony the Lionheart Smith in the third round, but this one was much better than the last. Rountree hit him so hard that the Lionheart Smith was moving like a Looney Tunes character. And in his last fight, he fought his first ever title challenger fight against Alex Pereira. He had some good moments early in this fight, but as it wore on, Alex's pressure was too much for Khalil and the jab was killing him. Eventually though, Khalil had no more to give and Alex hunted him down against the cage, where he beat him down for a TKO finish. These guys are here to fight for a challenger position in the light heavyweight division. It's no doubt whoever wins here is knocking on the door for another title fight, so who do you think takes home the victory this weekend? Drop a comment with your prediction below. And in our co-main event, we have 2 exciting young fighters from the lightweight division. First, we have Rafael Fiziev. The older of the two, at 32 years old, is much shorter at 5 foot 8 inches and has 4 inches shorter on the reach at 71.5 inch. Against him is Ignacio Bahamondes. He's very young, only 27 years old, and will tower over Fiziev, standing at 6'3". He's got the reach advantage too to go along with that as well. It's a straight pick'em line, so we can only hope for a banger here. Fiziev has been in a rut since 2023, where he first fought Justin Gaethje and lost a majority decision. The stats made it look like a close fight, and the scorecards were all over the place. One judge even scoring it a 28-28 tie. But Fiziev lost on 2 scorecards, and probably because the amount of damage that he had took that fight. Then he follows up with a tough challenger, Mateusz Gamrot. Crazy enough, Fiziev had won the first round on all scorecards. Then in the second round, tries to throw a body kick, which misses, and he overextends his knee and injures himself, taking another loss. And most recently, he stepped in on short notice and fought his rematch bout against Justin Gaethje just this past March. It was another great fight between the two, but he lost another decision here. And then we have the 27-year-old Ignacio Bahamondes. He's coming off a 3-fight win streak starting in 2024 with Christos Giagos, where he got a clean head kick TKO in the first round. His next fight against Emmanuel Torres, where Bahamondes was getting pressured, landed a perfect counter punch twice within a minute. The second time, he followed up with accurate strikes on the ground and finished the fight. And earlier this year, he fought Jalen Turner in a fast-paced fight that ended early. Turner pressured with striking. It looked like Bahamondes got close and pulled guard, and it looked bad for a minute, but then he sets up a triangle from the bottom and gets a submission win. These are 2 exciting fighters on their journey for the belt. How do you guys think this one ends? Let me know in the comments below. And now looking at our next fight, we have veteran heavyweight Curtis Blaydes going against the new Contender Series winner Rizvan Kuniev. This will be Curtis Blaydes' 20th fight in the UFC, while being Kuniev's just first fight, but in the heavyweight division it only takes 1 punch to get a win. Though they have such a big experience gap, they are nearly the same age, only 2 years apart. Curtis is 34 and Rizvan is 32. Both are huge, standing at 6'4", but Blaydes has a 4-inch reach advantage, and you can see the experience and size advantages clearly baked into the odds, as Blaydes opens as a -275 favorite. Curtis Blaydes has been fighting some of the best in his division over the past few years. In 2023, he fought Sergey Pavlovich when they were both rising to the top and lost via first round TKO. Then he comes back and fights Jailton Almeida. Almeida took Blaydes down for the entire first round, and then at the start of the second round shoots a blind takedown, and Blaydes just rains down elbows to get the TKO finish. And in his last fight was in July 2024, where he fought Tommy Espinlad for the interim belt. This fight was a rematch from years before where Aspinall blew his knee out. This was an insane heavyweight fight where both fighters were just standing and banging, and it only lasts a minute before Aspinall drops Blaydes and gets on top to finish him. Now, Rizvan Kuniev has only had one fight that we can analyze, and that's his Contender Series win against Hugo Cunha. He walked him down in the clinch and TKO'd him at the very end of the first round. It's not clear what Kuniev can do here to win against such a well-prepared and tested heavyweight like Curtis Blaydes, and the odds reflect that. But in this game, anything can happen. Next up, we have the Stone Age nomad Myktybek Orolbai fighting against what should be an absolute can in Tofiq Musayev. Orolbai is very young at 27 years old compared to Musayev, who is 35. Their height matches at 5'10", and Orolbai has a slight reach advantage by 2 inches. On paper, you could see how these two could match up pretty well, and the odds reflect that. Orolbai being just a -170 slight favorite, and Musayev, who's fighting in his own home country, being +135. Orolbai has had 3 UFC fights since joining the promotion in 2023, and he was a highly respected prospect at first. In his first fight, he beat Uros Medic in a gruesome fight by neck crank in round 2. Then he fights Elvis Brenner, where he scores over 7 minutes of control time and outstrikes Brenner through the fight. He wins 29-27 here. Would have been a perfect fight had he not gotten a point taken from him grabbing the fence in round 3. And in his most recent fight, he loses a split decision to Mateusz Rebecki. The strike count was comparable between the two, so this must have been a very close fight, but that's pretty disappointing seeing that Orolbai was a -275 favorite going into it. And his opponent this weekend, Tofiq Musayev. There's not much to break down here. He's 8 years older, been jumping around from Bellator to Rizin, and he hasn't even had a fight since 2023. He did win those last fights in Rizin, but is the level of competition nearly the same as the UFC? Will Orolbai be able to secure a dominant victory, or will Musayev have enough in his bag of tricks to have an underdog win in his first UFC fight? And next we have Azerbaijan's own Nazim Sadykhov fighting Brazilian Nikolas Motta in the lightweight division. Sadykhov is from Azerbaijan but trains out of Brooklyn, New York. 31 years old, 5'10" with a 69-inch reach. Motta on the other side has a similar build. He's roughly a year older than Sadykhov at 32, has a 1-inch disadvantage on the height, but then has the advantage on the reach very slightly. Sadykhov is coming in at a -400 favorite, but let's find out why. It looks like he's been on a tear since joining the UFC in 2023. First, he fights Ivan Elder. Sadykhov was losing the fight convincingly, actually having lost the first 2 rounds on all scorecards. And then an accidental headbutt in round 3 cuts Elder wide open, and the ref instantly stops action and the doctor calls the fight, so Sadykhov walks out of the cage with a TKO win. You may have thought it was a fluke, but he comes back to fight Terrence McKinney and gets the takedown and a submission win in round 2. Then he goes against Vyacheslav Borashev, which results in a majority draw. And then earlier this year fights Ismail Bonfim, where he landed an insane head kick that should have knocked him out, but instead cuts him open so bad that the doctor stops the fight anyways. And Nikolas Motta, he just hasn't fought the same level of competition. His last 2 fights were against Tom Nolan, where he did get a TKO finish in the first round, and then a decision win against Mahaseses Yahayeser. So will Sadykhov pull through as the giant -400 favorite? Will his resume and experience prove to be enough, or will Motta be able to give him enough trouble this weekend to find a win? And the first fight on the main card, we have Tajikistani Mohammad Naimov against Austrian Bogdan Grad for a featherweight bout. Both of these guys are very similar in build. Naimov is 30 and Grad is 29. Naimov is 5'9" while Grad is 5'8", and they both have the same reach at 70 inches. Naimov is the favorite, coming in at -225, and let's see why. He's had 3 fights since 2023, where he first beat Eric Silva by TKO after Silva suffered what seemed like a leg injury. He then fought Felipe Lima, who completely outclassed him the entire fight. Striking was good by Lima, he had fast hands. Defense was good by Lima, he was able to survive Naimov's takedowns. And in the end, he got a takedown and found the rear naked choke. And most recently in February, he fought Khan Olfli, where he won a unanimous decision. And the underdog Bogdan Grad, he's coming in with just 1 UFC fight under his belt, where this past February, he fought Lucas Alexander and put his aggression on display, finding mount position and landing heavy strikes to finish the fight. This fight is going to be a test for Bogdan Grad. There isn't much we've seen from him yet, and this fight against the lightly tested Muhammad Naimov is just what he needs to show us what he's got. And that wraps up your MMA Fight Weekly preview of UFC Azerbaijan. Look out for more videos coming soon on my fight predictions and best bets. If you like the video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment with your main event predictions. Thanks for tuning in, and let's enjoy the fights.